In the name of Allah, who is the most merciful and the most beneficent. I am Arslan Asghar from BS 4th semester, and today I am here to deliver the presentation on the topic of Hard Times by Charles Dickens. First of all, I would like to tell you the four features of Charles Dickens novel. The first is that he focused on, I would like to tell you about his criticism of novel on the society. The first criticism was on social, other was on education, the third was economic, and the fourth was criticism on political system. Let me discuss the first one. I would like to talk about the education system. Dear audience, the education system of that time, 19th century, that was very poor. Only the students were not given the chance to speak. They were not allowed to ask questions. They were not allowed to ask many interpretive views. They were not allowed to tell or read the stories. Only they were given a track on they had to follow. Actually, in other words, I would like to say that the students were only cramming the things which they were taught by the teachers, and they were not given the space to think beyond the lines, beyond the lecture or whatever I should say. And the student of that time, they had no imagination, concepts and views. They had only facts. The teacher, they believed in facts only, like 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. But Dickens, in his Hard Time novel, says the student must be given the chance to think about the thing. They should read the books, novel, article, and other thing to broaden their views and imagination. He talked about the two things. The first thing is that he focused on fantasy, and other thing, facts. Dickens in his Hard Time says that facts is not everything in life. There are other things as well. The first thing that he says that life is not only means of facts but also fantasy and imagination. Dear audience, I would like to tell you that he focused that people of that time, he has given the example in the novel that a son of farmer only was forced to study in a specific line, in a specific track. They were not given broad expectations and interpretation. If I talk about the next point, Industrial Revolution, this was the novel against Industrial Revolution revolt, and people of that time, they were running machines, and the children were being forced to work in industries and etc. You know that this was the age of Victorian age, and Victorian age actually murdered the innocence of children because the children were forced to work hard. There is a term in the novel, Cocktown, and Cocktown itself means the place of misery, the place of oppression, the place of what should I say, brutality, that where the people are being oppressed, being suppressed, their views, their everything is there was the influence of elite class, because that was the I would like to say that that era was also social stratification, that elite class had oppression over lower class, and in Corktown it is also the place of middle class, excuse me. If we talk about the middle class, what they were facing, actually, if I talk about the dystopia is a specific genre of literature, and dystopia deals with many problems. The word itself means, if I interpret myself, the word itself means badness. So it has many interpretation, but I would like to say dystopia itself means badness, and in the novel, Charles Dickens is the founder of Dystopia in Hard Times, in which he says that dystopia in literature has many consequences like corruption, lawlessness, and weakness of education. Weakness of education means that they were in the same circle. Whatever teacher, what was the attitude of the teacher? Teachers were very strict and tough. Whenever they taught the students, if student wanted to ask anything, they were not given permission to ask, to express their views. They were entirely oppressed by the teacher as well as from the society. And Dickens says in her time that student of that time, he says in the novel, that students of that time, they were not fed according to their hunger. They were not given chance. They were not allowed to fly according to their wings, and their wings were not like as working as they should work. And he has used the term dystopia by J.S. Mills. He says in this speech at Ireland and Irish, and he criticizes the policy of government, that there was weak government, and there were like poor political system. So I would like to discuss the next point. The next point is that fancy and fact. There, Charles Dickens uses paradoxical points. Like first he says upper class, again he says that there is a lower or middle class. First he use rich, again he says they are poor. So there is a contradiction between upper and lower, upper and middle, rich and poor, and he actually wanted to resolve the problem that people were facing at that time, and it was actually revolt, and he is the writer of that time who wanted to eradicate all the problems that people were facing. There are three phases which has been taken from the Bible. The first is sowing, the other is reaping, at the last but not least is gardening. So it is originated from the original text of Bible, which means as you sow, so shall you reap. Let's have a glimpse on the presentation PowerPoint I have prepared. Let's see it. Hard Times by Charles Dickens. Age and its attack. If I talk about the social age, Victorian age has social issues, economic system, caste system, and educational system. Let's see another slide. This is a pyramid which describes rich industrialists, oppression of poor class, and underpaid labor. Let me discuss this point that in Corktown place, the poor class, they had to work hard 24 hours per day to meet their bread and butter. They were not given, their wages were very low. They were not paid their wages. So that's why they had to work 24 hours per day to meet their bread and butter. And they had very, you can say, poor environment in all aspects, especially in their environment, in their e-tables, in their education, in their industry, in their economy. Let's see another slide. You can see this is the effect of rich towards poor. Education system is entirely satirized by Charles Dickens in the novel, and he sees that students follow teacher style and cramming system. Now, how teacher style that? As I have expressed and told in my previous line, that students were not given the chance to ask and express their views. Now let's see utilitarian values. What is utilitarian value? Education system influenced and highly educated but can't. They were highly educated people, but they could not express their emotions. They could not express their feelings. What is the reason behind this? I ask a question from you. Because they were not given the chance to express their views and imagination. They were crammed and all that, etc. So that was the problem, that people were highly educated, but they were not given a chance to express their emotions. I have expressed that children were not given permission to imagine, to ask questions, tell stories, and express their emotions. If you have any question regarding this novel Hard Times by Charles Dickens, you can inbox me personally, or you can ask me on my YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much.